evening, and a very warm welcome to another conversation on Chai Chat and Community by Word Pellet. I'm Chris Mallika Bhadra, and I will be discussing tonight or today, depends on whichever part of the world you're listening to us from, you're watching us from. I'll be discussing about the sense or the importance of physical well being with my guest tonight. Needless to say, COVID 19 has altered our lifestyles. In the past 2 years, we've been bound to the four walls of our residences with minimum to no outdoor interaction. And I can say this because the three of us, we've been in Melbourne. And for people who don't know, Melbourne has seen one of the harshest lockdowns ever in 2020 and a few months of 21 as well. So, in that case, how do we ensure our physical well being? How do we stay fit? And how do we also try to ensure that our physical well being is helping us to stay mentally active and healthy as well? On that note, please join me as I welcome Dhivya, Rajasekaran, and Shyama Sasidharan on my show tonight. Dhivya and Shyama, thank you so much for joining me and for taking your time out to speak with me tonight. How are you ladies doing?
Doing
Ask
great,
you, Dhivya.
Chris.
Thank you. Shyama, how are you?
All doing good, very well. Thank you,
Thank you,
Chris.
Shyama. I'll get you guys to introduce yourselves in a bit, but before, I would like to begin the show by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we are meeting tonight, the people of the Kulin Nation. I also pay my respect to the elders past, present, and emerging. All right, Shama, I'll start with you first. Why don't you tell our listeners a bit about yourself?
Thank you, Chris. I'm Shyama Sasidharan. I'm a dancer and also teach dance and yoga. I'm also a yoga therapist. So I take care of specific ailments. I do have a media background, and I also do. Along with a few friends of mine, run a television channel called M4 TV in Melbourne. So that's it about me.
Thank you, Shama. Thank you. Divya, coming on to you, please tell us about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dhivya Rajasekaran. I teach for a living. I work at a private university. I teach chemistry and biochemistry. I've always had an active lifestyle. I also try to positively influence people around me to focus on health and fitness. Thanks,
That's
Chris.
awesome. Thank you. No, I should thank you both for joining me because I know it's a Wednesday night. I know how busy everyone is these days. All right, coming back to the topic, I want to know from both of you, right? The first things first. COVID 19, a lot has been said, a lot has been discussed, but how has COVID 19 affected our physical well being in general, and why do we need to discuss it 2 years hence in this part and time and date? Shama, I'll start with you. Then we'll come to you later.
Well, Chris, for the last 2 years, like what you said, Melbourne's seen the longest lockdown, and I
Yes.
think probably this isn't the only time we should have thought of physical fitness and mental well-being. Throughout the entire span of those 2 years, when most of us were in lockdown, it's always of utmost importance that one takes care of their physical well-being.
Hmm.
And see, as a yoga practitioner, I believe that it's all connected. So if there's something that's affecting your mind, it definitely affects your body. And we know how common psychosomatic illnesses are these days. So
Hmm.
psychosomatic illness is nothing but what starts in the mind and then starts reflecting in one's body. So yeah, and then you can actually treat it vice versa as well. So if you start being physically fit, and if you start taking care of your body in such a way, your mind starts becoming a little more healthier, clearer. If
Hmm.
you keep yourself active, and that sedentary lifestyle that we most of us had to be confined to maybe 1 hour of activity outside did put a lot of strain, especially with no socializing, which put a mental strain as well. So yes, I'm glad that we're out of the lockdown and we are finally discussing this topic here today.
Thanks, Shama. That was very insightful beginning to the conversation. Then we are moving on to you. Obviously, COVID has changed our lifestyle, and we were inside for most part of the years. But how has it impacted our physical well-being?
I can give you some examples from my own personal life. So what happened was because we went into lockdown and work from home started, the number of steps I take a day massively reduced. So I
Hmm.
used to take the bus, walk for 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to get to the office. So that was gone. And I didn't have to fight against weight gain before. And I was still doing the same things I used to do during the lockdown as well. But I
Yeah.
put on weight. I put on a lot of weight during lockdown, the first time around in 2020. And because I didn't go out and meet friends, I was craving for different varieties of food. So what I ended up doing was ordering takeaway, and yeah, and that didn't work as well. That could have caused the weight gain, despite me being doing the same things I was doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was actually, yeah, decreasing the number of steps, and the craving to eat good food, and
Increase.
also
Yeah.
the weight gain that resulted from, yeah, that's how it impacted me during COVID lockdown.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. I think I can resonate with a few points. It was a lot of online shopping though for me, and then food fetish also
Well, I
increased.
saved myself from that during the first time.
Let's not talk about me then. But um, from both of you again, I want to know, since we are talking about physical activity and well-being, I guess we cannot segregate the topic of good nutrition and proper diet, right? So how does that kind of integrate into the whole umbrella topic of physical activity, physical well-being? Divya, I'll start with you this time first, and Shama will come to you later.
Now, with the role of nutrition, I think what we eat impacts our mood. So we've got to be very careful in what we feed ourselves with. And I've always tried to have as much as vegetables and fruits. That's
Yeah.
again because of, whenever my mom used to explain the nutritional value of certain foods and how it's going to be good for me right from childhood, I think that's where the interest started. So I've always tried to eat well, and also eating regularly, just not, at least trying not to be cranky because I haven't had my food. That's something that I also follow. And having the right balance of fats is also important. We can't
Yeah.
just push away the fats, which are very important. And yeah, so I find what you eat will help you be the person, be a better person actually,
Better
because
person.
it's going to
Absolutely.
reflect on your mood.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Shama, what are your thoughts to having good nutritional elements and values into your fooding habits?
Well, I guess I resonate what Divya just said. Coming from a background where my mother used to, often say, this is important because you've got carbohydrates, protein, your minerals are here. So I'm used to seeing the food platter and then, watching out for all these. So every element in my food just, changes into carbohydrate, protein, minerals, vitamins. So I see all that and ensure that I'm having that. And I used to follow a particular pattern where, I need to have my breakfast, lunch, and dinner on a particular time, which was very essential for me until recently, where I've actually started experimenting with a little bit with intermittent fasting. Well, I can't say I know the benefits of it yet, but most cultures do show throw a lot of emphasis on fasting. So I do feel that that's essential to give your body and metabolism a break. Just let your body know that you can take your energy elsewhere and use it. So again, nutrition does play an important role, but when somebody's mind's not working well, it doesn't tell you what to eat. It doesn't tell you what's the right food to eat. When you are depressed or anxious, and I'm quite sure many of them would have gone into that kind of a phase, especially during the lockdown. uh, there is one good mind which knows that junk food or unhealthy food is not good, but then your mind says eat it, just go for it, just go eat that chocolate, go for your chippy bag, go for it, binge on it. And there's no stopping you at that time. It's very hard. I'm a vegetarian, so I try and draw inspiration from wherever I can. So I've had interactions. My classes were still going on. We moved into online mode. I have one of my students who have very very much influenced me. She talks about cooking every day, and I never thought that that concept is even possible in Melbourne, because I've often heard people say they cook during the weekends, show it off all off in the fridge, and use it through the rest of the week. And I thought that was decent enough. At least I'm doing home cooked food. But then she did inspire me to a large extent. Try and create nutritional food, like what Divya said. You are what you eat. So are you going to just cook something, let it, I don't want to use the word rot, but keep it away for so much time. Like if you look at the principles of Ayurveda, we talk about sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic food. And sattvic food comes under, the good ones, the fresh ones that can be eaten immediately as soon as it's cooked within the 1.5 hours that you leave it for. But
Yeah.
the more you let food stay, it starts getting the tamasic qualities or the negative qualities. So if you want to be what you eat, then you might as well want to eat the sattvic food if you want to have all the good qualities in you.
But when we're talking about food, Shama and Divya both, a lot of people don't have the time or the availability, or they don't have the privilege of cooking every day or cooking up to their needs. What do we do in that situation? How do we ensure that even if we are taking away food, or like students, sometimes what do they do? It's just ramen or noodles, right? They don't have that tenacity of cooking. How do they, in that situation, with academics, extra work hours, how do they take care of their physical being in that situation? Divya, since you teach, I'd like to know from you first, and then I'll come to you, Sham.
Chris, I've had a student life at Swinburne for about 4 years as a PhD student. So I know the hectic work schedules we used to have. But I can say that I always followed meal planning because having good food was very important to me. And I think if you get that kind of perception, you can plan anything. So I've never had ramen noodles for dinner, just binging. No, I've never done that.
Yeah.
It's just tuning your mind to focus on good nutrition that can help you to do meal planning and grocery shopping. And yeah, and I also find having a journal of what you eat, just so you know what you're actually feeding
Yeah.
yourself with,
Yeah.
helps. So it's more important, especially for students, because if you are not eating well, it's just going to reflect on the work you're involved in. So it's very important. So I highly recommend doing meal planning, and also, focusing on what you eat and trying to change your perception towards food. It's not food, it's going to impact you on many levels. So I think that perception, if you get that, the way you look at, being healthy will also change.
Change. Yeah, I agree. Shama, anything to add there about those students who are always running around? How do
Yes,
they keep?
I hate to admit, or I hate to make this remark, but I have to. Lack of time is actually a myth. It's just that we're not managing time the way we should. Student life, we choose to decide, choose to do what we want to. So late night movies, you always have time for late night movies. Waking up in the morning is never easy. So if you really want to eat nutritious food, you can. It's a lifestyle and it's a choice that you make. And instead of making those 2-minute noodles, which takes 2 minutes, why don't you just grab a banana and eat a banana? Right? It's still healthier than ramen or whatever you get in 2 minutes. So go for a handful of nuts. It's always possible, but then we give in to the taste buds. You want to have something which is yummy. Always drink fresh water, lime juice, or even buttermilk if you want to. Like they're all easily accessible. It's not that they're not available
Yeah.
readily. They're all right there, but you choose to go on the Slurpee. So it's the choice you make.
Chris, I
I
just
know.
want to add on to that. Even
Yeah.
when I was a student, I used to grind my own idli dosa batter. So I know if I don't do that, my mind will not work, because I know I need that for breakfast or sometimes dinner as well. So you can actually plan your time accordingly, and you just have to prioritize. If you
Exactly.
prioritize your nutrition, I think you
Exactly.
can work around having good food.
Absolutely, I agree. All right, coming down to the part of the physical well-being, right? So, Divya, I know you've recently taken up high-intensity kickbox training and boxing. What prompted you to go into that direction?
Um, So I moved from Doncaster to Pakenham, in between the lockdowns. It was in 2021. So I've always done Pilates and yoga, but not high
Yeah.
intensity at all. I've never done high intensity before. And I wanted to try different things. So that was one of the thing, going into high intensity training was one of the different things I wanted to do at the time. So last year I started training at my local gym. It's called 9 Round. So they have this 9 stations, and you spend 3 minutes in each station,
Yeah.
and do the 2 minutes of 2.5 minutes of workout at each station. So this short period, so you have only short intervals between the high intensity workouts. So you have 2 rounds of strength training and about 6 rounds. I think I made a note. Yeah, 3 to 8 rounds. So the third station to eighth station will be just kickboxing fitness. So alley shuffles and jab cross and your round kicks. That's what we do. And the last thing will be the core workout. Core is very important. So the last station is for that. And it takes only 28 minutes. And I found that that's not a lot. I can definitely put in that half an hour a day to get into the gym and, do my workout and get out. And it's also not, there's no class, so you can get into the gym anytime. So that also worked for me. So for me personally, I wanted to try different thing, and also the schedule matched my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what got me into high intensity training, and I've only recently started because last year was mostly lockdown.
Yeah.
So doing
Oh,
Pilates again during the lockdown. But I really enjoy doing a workout at 9 Round, and I highly recommend if you have a similar type of gyms around. Yeah, it takes only 30 minutes, so it's not a lot, not asking a lot. So yeah.
awesome. Shama, coming to you, you are into dance, right? You're actively into dance, you are into yoga. If I just focus on the performing arts aspect of it, how does performing art help you to retain that work-life balance and also your physical and mental sanity?
Well, performing art is my passion as well as my main work. So and there is no work-life balance over there. As far as art is concerned, it is my work, and it is also my life. So yes, well, during lockdown, that was one very challenging aspect because there wasn't a motivation to look forward to doing new shows, and it really did motivate me to keep practicing, especially in the same between within the four walls of your home. I'm blessed that I do have a lovely studio at home, so that was another positive side. But then you're a performer, right? And you crave for that audience, and you want to be there, amidst the audience in the crowd. So that was very demotivating. But yeah, I knew, like one day when the lockdown gets over, you're going to go back in there. And if someone's going to give you an opportunity to perform, you can't say, hey, wait, I've lost my stamina, I've put on weight, which did actually happen. And I'm still working on it. I know during this time, like putting on weight is not a big deal anymore. So we're not trying to make a big deal about putting on weight, but as a performing artist, I need my stamina. So that's what
Yeah.
affects me the most. Like I need to be able to move just the way I used to. So more than the weight gain, or more than the appearance, the physical aspects of how we look, how it impacts my body, how it makes me, how it impacts my mind is what affected me most. So yes, I did try to keep up with at least the 1 hour that I got a chance to get out and work. Apart from that, the classes were still on. Online classes were still going on, which motivated me to keep teaching. And we were trying and being active, but not to the extent of how we would have during a time
Yeah.
when there was no
Yeah.
lockdown. Hmm.
Yeah, that I can relate to it somewhat because I think as a member myself, I've lost that interest. Like virtual, we did a lot of virtual performances, but recording in front of the camera and being on the stage are two completely different feelings altogether. You're comparing an apple to an orange, honestly. So yeah, that just kind of takes
Hmm.
away the entire thrill of it. But I totally resonate with your feelings there. The next thing that I want to know probably is the most important part of the conversation, ladies. Is like when we talk about exercise, yoga, Pilates, and all that, how do we ensure that we are looking after our mental health using all these as a support system? How do we take care of our mental health? Shama, I'll start with you, and Divya, I'll come to you later.
Well, I think I answered a part of this in my first answer, which was again about, how mental health affects your physical well-being and, vice versa. So again, being physically active actually helps your mind to, like see, in yoga, we say the mind needs to be in a state of balance.
Yeah.
And how does one achieve the state of balance? It's very, it isn't easy, or, it's easy to talk about, keeping your mind still, not thinking anything, and staying there in calmness. Effectively, none of us can actually sit completely still without thinking about anything. The only way you can do that is by focusing very deeply on one thing. Okay,
Hmm.
and when you put your body in a position where you have to put your full focus over there, at least your mind's not thinking about the other things. Okay, you're not thinking about what movie you want to watch, or whom you want to have a chat with, or whatever you want to do. You're focusing right there at okay, what is happening with my body right now. So that way, you're doing a physical activity helps your body to your mind to actually focus on that one objective of achieving that perfection, that physical aspect. Once that starts happening, your mind is able to at least focus on one thing for some time. When that starts happening, again, you're reaching towards a stage where you are able to calm your mind. Like I have so many students, especially my adult dance students who attend classes. For them, dance is more about an overall well-being. It's not just about physical fitness, or it's not just about learning an art form. More than that, it's about an overall well-being where you meet up a community of lovely people. And
Yeah.
apart from creating that sisterhood, or a friendship circle, there is also a part where your mental well-being is also being explored, especially with Indian classical dancing, where we're able to emote so many different kind of emotions, where somebody in their normal life won't be able to usually project, and they usually keep it hidden. So these kind of emotions are explored during the process of learning Indian classical dance, and that in a way helps them to unveil the layers of subtle or silent emotions that have been playing in their
Yeah.
minds, which actually I think has done wonders to many of our mental well-being. So it's about seeking motivation, finding something inspiring, and then starting to follow that.
Very well said, Shama. Thank you for those insights. Divya, I'll move on to you. That how do we use these, all these phenomena of Pilates, exercise, whatever, to ensure that we are also keeping our mental health in check?
Chris, I find I'm someone who likes to have a structure in my life. So I like routines, and exercise is part of my routine. So that's again an aspect I find having a structure helps me to achieve my goals, and this is a part. So that's how I look at it. And I also find it helps me sleep better, and that directly reflects on my mood, and of course helps with my mental well-being as well. And every time after a workout, how much ever intense it is, I feel happy. I feel happy after a workout. So it's all to do with endorphins and dopamine and serotonin,
Dopamine and
just flushing in your body.
endorphins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely makes you feel happy, although you may feel tired the next day or even just after a workout. It definitely makes you feel happy. So it of course, all of these impact on the mental well-being. And I find, especially after I do a dance workout on Thursdays with some people in Nariwaran. I find I've developed connections with people there, and that also impacts. So it's
Yes.
not just the workout, just like how Shama shared, the community support you get from people. And through that, I've got other friendships, and we do a lot of other activities as well. So it's a path that will help you to be mentally
Yeah.
sane. And it's
Yeah.
not just the workout.
I like how you ladies both mention and agree on the fact that you use these journeys to kind of socially interact with people and use this as a connection. That's a very interesting way to look at these things, because for many people who shirk away from doing physical activities, I think this is a positive way of just being out there and trying things and networking with like-minded people. But one thing that I also want to know from you is, like, now life is very uncertain. One day we are here, the other day we might not be there. One day there's a lockdown, other day we're free. How do we adjust in this way? Like, how do we adjust our physical activities to the post-COVID pseudo-normal world? How do we do that? Now nothing is for granted, nothing is certain. Shama, how do you plan your next day or the next year now that things are so wild?
I think the entire pandemic has taught us a big lesson. It's about living in the present. And when we start living in the present, I'm really not thinking about my next year, though I am very keen on, getting my school concert done with, and, I'm excited and looking forward to it. It's not about not being motivated about tomorrow, but it's about, enjoying what is happening today. So whether it is I did notice that we were talking about, all sort of high intensity training, dance, yoga as physical well-being activity. See, during lockdown, you could still have, used your backyard. You could have done a little bit of gardening. That even that is a physical workout. Being involved with nature. Walking out in your maybe if you don't have a backyard, just look out of the balcony, take a deep breath in, and then do something within your apartment. Everything's possible. You just have to put your heart to it, and once that's possible, I think there is no looking back. And I don't see myself worried anymore about, okay, what is going to happen if there's another lockdown. I think we're all prepared for that stage. Okay, if there is a lockdown, there is a lockdown. If there isn't, well, good. Even with travel, like all probably have noticed that, now that we've been granted the freedom to actually move around, how many of us really choose to do that, and how many of us decide, okay, let's not travel right now? It's now with us, and we still do it. So the apprehension is when you're, asked not to, but then when you are given the freedom, you use your sense of, understanding to decide whether you have to do it or not. So physical well-being doesn't isn't something that has to be stopped during lockdown. Okay, it is something that you must. We know that community and everything plays a major part, but nevertheless, even if you're alone, you were given that 1 hour where you could have done something. If you're somebody who's never moved in life, walk from one end of the room to the other. I've seen couch potatoes who even refuse to do that. See, it might be something to do with somebody's mental well-being also. So we can't just force somebody who is in a state of depression to start moving out. Moving around. It's not easy for somebody like that. Somebody going through a very different state of mind. For highly motivated people like I think me and Divya, it comes quite naturally. But for somebody who has never done that, I think there needs to be a community support, an online support, or a system where they feel connected and they feel the need to step out even for that moment. I think we need to try and ensure that we're all with them as well, while we talk about a situation where we so easily say talk about nutrition and good food and walking and exercising. There could be somebody out there wondering, I can't do it. Why does it sound so easy to everyone? So it isn't unusual for somebody to not feel that way. So I do acknowledge the fact that we do have amongst ourselves people who go through such stages in life. So I hope they reach out for support, and they're able to find something. We do live in a community where there is support for all these concerns. It's just a matter of reaching out. Just give that one call wherever it is, to whoever it is. Do your research, and it will slowly open up. There are no doors that are closed. You just have to knock.
Very well. Yes, agree. Divya, what are your thoughts on the sheer instability COVID has given us?
Do what you can. Do what you can. Because that's what I did during lockdown. I started going to the gym, and then we went into lockdown for like 2 or 3 months. So at the time, we had an 8-week challenge in my gym, so I signed up for that. So there was an online, we used to connect with people online as a community every week just to get some motivation. And yeah, and that's when I started to include more Pilates into my workouts. So if you want to do something, there are so many videos available online. I'm not recommending that you do, um, but it has worked for me. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. There are videos, so many workout videos. So just do what you can and have that routine. Once it's like you wake up and you brush, so you wake up and you exercise. So that has to be kind of thing that you do every day. So it doesn't need to be an hour if you are, you don't have that time and you have other priorities in life. It can be just 15 minutes. Just 15 minutes every day makes a difference. Trust me, it does make a difference. So yeah, do what you can. given the circumstance. And I'm sure if we again go into lockdown, there could be other pandemics coming in. We can do what we can. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, apart from the last line that there might be other pandemics coming in, all your other points, I'll take them into consideration. I don't want to take the last line. I'll pretend that I didn't hear that. But anyway, on that note, ladies, it was a very, very insightful conversation. Thank you both for giving us your time again. It was an honor, pleasure knowing you, talking with you on such an important topic. And I think not one conversation is enough. This is a topic which needs ongoing conversation, ongoing dialogue. So probably we'll meet some other time on some other forum to discuss more about these. To our listeners, we hope you liked what Shyama and Divya had to share about their individual journeys about yoga, high intensity training, dance. Do what you can, take each day that comes. I'm just summarizing both my guests. So that is the summary from today. I'll see you soon on another episode 2 weeks from now on Chai Chat and Community. Till then, we are living in troubled times. Please stay safe and make sure you keep loving the people around you. This is shortly. And Sharma and Divya, thank you once again for joining me tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Chris. It was a pleasure.